Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United District. Today, you've got myself, Nixon, and Yusuf on to dissect and reflect on what was a pretty depressing night against Galatasaray in the Champions League. To look at some of the individual performances of that game, but also the run that we've had of late, which hasn't been great. And then also have a quick preview of the Brentford game on the weekend, which is going to be very, very important for us. So, Yusuf, I'll come to you first. We were both there that night. It was fun in moments, but mostly quite depressing, to be honest. What did you make of it? What did you make of the game?
I think the fact that both of us had to drive back quite a long way after the game made it even more depressing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Honestly, like a lot of our recent games, I thought we had good moments that we should have won the game, but we made silly mistakes, fine margins again, like the Hoyland offside. But if fine margins and silly mistakes are costing us every single week, you got to look at why. Like, obviously, for one-off game, you're like, okay, you know what? No, this generally is an anomaly. But right now, it's not an anomaly. We are losing these games for these same reasons. And it's really frustrating. All of their goals could have been avoided. It was just really, silly defending, quite frankly.
No, I think you're spot on. I mean, even if you look at the three goals, it's like the first one, Zaha, it's one ball over the top. It wasn't dealt with. The first bounce shouldn't have even been allowed to happen. Someone needed to get the header before it even bounced. And then after that from Dalot, I think he needs to be a bit stronger. Anana's positioning could have been better. There's mistakes riddled in that goal, I'll be honest. The second one, I think Amrabat gets pulled out of position. I know it's a bit harsh because he's obviously not a natural left back and he's sort of just covering in. But I'll be honest, that there was a mistake on his part for the second goal in terms of getting pulled apart. And I actually watched it back and I deeps that their second goal was a throw-in from their half, 2 passes, and they were in our box and scored. It was quite simply as easy as that. We were getting pulled apart quite easily. And then the third goal as well, I hate to again draw out Amrabat, but again, he was the one playing Icardi offside. But once again, it's one ball through the middle and we're carved open.
Yeah, and also it was actually, I believe, Amrabat who played the pass where they won the header. He kind of didn't quite get the pass right.
Yeah. When he tried to play a long-ish ball and they won the header and a throw-on goal. And I hate the fact that it was Icardi that got the winning goal as well.
Right after the penalty that he missed as well. You're like, right, there's hope in this now. But then the second they go 3-2 up, like, it's done.
But that's a reoccurring theme, isn't it, as well, in terms of anything positive that happens is followed up by some sort of negative. I mean, every time we scored, they scored. When they missed the penalty, they went and scored a few minutes later. I'm pretty sure our first goal, they scored within, 4 minutes after that?
Yeah.
The second goal was like 5, and then I think after the penalty miss was another 5. Is that signs of mental fragility, do you think, amongst our team?
Fragility, but also a bit of fatigue, because I feel like still the team are just the physical demand on them, and that also affects you mentally as well. The demand on them right now is way too high. I'm actually going to go into this a bit deeper in a minute, but we're asking way too much of these guys, but also for what we are asking, they're not doing it nearly well enough at the same time, and that is really frustrating me. Like, it's just the basics of football that we keep messing up every single game. So, like I said, that first goal, yeah, like I say, I think it's a bit high for Varane, but then he maybe could get back a bit quicker, try deal with it. Then it bounces a bit too much. Dalot probably wants to, like I say, be a bit stronger. Zaha's a very strong player, but Dalot he's not exactly weak, all right? He's dominated a lot of players physically before, so he's got to stand his ground, really be out in the air. And I think with Onana, he's kind of halfway between coming out, halfway between staying, and that's why he kind of gets caught. But again, you're like, as a goalkeeper, the worst place you want to be is in the middle. You either have to fully commit or you stay back. And I think if Onana fully commits, he probably stops that. If he stays back, he probably stops it. But he got caught in the middle, and that's really frustrating.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on. And I think just off that, to talk a little bit about Onana, I was fairly positive about Onana in his first few games. Even though the results weren't going our way, I was liking what I was seeing. His distribution was still good. There seems to have been a shift of late, and we're not getting the best out of his ball-playing abilities. That's very, very visible. He doesn't seem to be as comfortable coming out as much as he did at the beginning. He's certainly not playing as far out as he did against Inter Milan, for Inter Milan, sorry. And there has been a few moments where I don't know how to describe it quite. Yeah, the shot stopping, but it's also the sort of mechanics of goalkeeping, if that makes sense. It's sort of the angle at which he's standing when a shot is coming at him near post, or his positioning and things like that. Has that been concerning for you, because it's not been the start that we would have wanted for Onana at Man United?
Yeah, a little bit. And I believe in Onana. I think he will come. I still believe he's a world-class goalkeeper. I think he will come good for us. He's obviously had a dodgy few games, and that can really affect you in football, especially when the whole team is quite bad. What I do like about Onana is he's brave. He's never, if he makes a mistake, he's not going to be the guy who hides it. He's going to come out and own it. Like, even when he requested to do the interview, I think it was against Bayern, he said, "This is my fault." Like, I like that a lot in a goalkeeper, and that's aside from his actual quality, which we know he's not showing fully at the moment, that bravery, that willingness to take accountability is what really gives me confidence he will come good for us. He will be a good player. In terms of the ball playing, again, that's the structure of the team. Right now, we're just going too direct, which again is linked to physical demands, but going too direct. And also, because we've lost Lisandro, and Shaw as well, that's two really important first phase players for us. So now we've got him. We're almost relying on him to kind of be our first phase in a lot of moments. Varane was injured as well for a bit, and that's really frustrating. But we're giving the ball to Onana. We're not kind of trying to break a line or whatever. We just end up giving it back to him. He's ending up going long. We don't have anyone up top who can make it stick. So we're losing it. And then we have to, rush to press and then come back. And it's all a massive mess. It feels like everything is disjointed. But with Onana individually, yeah, sometimes I think for a couple of goals he's conceded, he's kind of rushing out a bit too early almost, or he's acting a bit too early. And then he gets caught in no man's land a little bit. And it doesn't feel like Onana. Usually he's very proactive, but also he's smartly proactive. Like, he's not just rushing out for the sake of rushing out. He actually times things well. He knows what he's doing. Here, he looks a little bit lost at the minute. And I believe he'll come good. But I think as a team, we need to do a bit more for him. I think he needs to, and he'll know this. He'll be the first person to say it, like, pick it up a little bit, start being more confident on those claims. When you save your shots, make yourself a bit bigger, intimidate the attackers more. I think we'll see a response from him. But yeah, right now, we were all really excited for him. I think he, like you said, he started very well. He's not had the best few games, but I think it will come good. I do hope so, because yeah, after everything, and it's just what's annoying me more than anything is the revisionism on De Gea. On De Gea, because he's like, he was making these errors for us, but also not being good on the ball or anything. Like, Onana is actually still playing better than De Gea was. So in the media, especially at Man United, with the fans, you're always going to be open to that level of criticism. I know Onana's got a very strong head on his shoulders. He can deal with it, but still, it's just really annoying me.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was a few times where he went long to Højlund, not just in the game against Galatasaray, but in the few games prior, where it has stuck, where Højlund's managed to sort of get it down and pass it out. And it's nice that we now have that choice. But you're right, in terms of the options that we're giving him to him short, they're just not really good enough. The ball playing ability that we have at the back right now isn't amazing, I'll be honest. Lindelof and Varane are both okay. Lindelof has his moments where he looks really good, but you do really want Lisandro Martinez in there. You really do want Luke Shaw in there for their ball playing ability and for that, for a way for us to get out from defensive into the attacking third. And we haven't had that. We haven't helped him in that. Also, I would like to say, I don't think that the likes of Edison and David Raya, for example, are facing as many 1v1s as Onana is right now. We shouldn't be allowed. We shouldn't be relying on him to make these saves constantly, game in, game out, and being sliced open every game. So I think, and it kind of goes hand in hand with other players as well, because I wanted to go on to Marcus Rashford in a second, because he is another player right now who is being targeted a little bit in the media, and there's been a lot of criticism of him. But it's also a thing of, when the team isn't performing, it's hard for individual players to do well either. But we will go on to Rashford. So he's still got 4 goal contributions this season. So it's not been, that he's not had any output. His underlying stats are still there. He's still showing in moments that he's getting shots off, and he's still creating as well. I know it's not always working for him, but as a creative player, that's going to happen. You're going to lose the ball. But what do you make of it all? I mean, what is your outlook on Rashford at the moment, and how do you see it panning out in the next few weeks?
I've got to preface this by saying I absolutely love Marcus Rashford. Any criticisms I make of him are not, oh no, he's attacking one of our best players, arguably our best last season. No, genuinely, I just want him to do better. I love him. As a Man United fan, I don't understand how you can't love Rashford. Right now, okay, the thing that's annoying me the most is there's just a seeming lack of effort. The body language is quite poor. He doesn't look like himself at all, even against Galatasaray so many times. So I was sat in the corner. He was on my side first half. I was seeing opportunities where he gets the ball. I'm like, look, you're 1v1 with a fullback here. Burn him. You can do this, all right? This fullback is toast for you. You've toasted much better fullbacks than this without even trying before. But he's kind of waiting, delaying, then picking like a safe pass. Or I just want to see more drive and then off the ball. To be fair, I actually thought he had a better defensive game against Galatasaray than he has in some recent games. But also, it is just quite frustrating me. I look at Højlund and his desire, the way he's chasing everything, the way he fights for everything, even on the ball. Every action of Højlund's was positive. He was really like, there was one moment where he picked the ball up, he dribbled out of a tight space, beat a couple men, then switched over to Rashford. And I was like, wow. But it's the difference in drive right now. And I don't like talking on players' mentalities because of really and truly, we don't know anything. Okay, we don't know what's going on. Rashford could have things going on. We don't know. In the last few weeks, Rashford hasn't looked like himself. I think that is quite clear to see. And I look at Højlund and I just want to see more. I want to see Rashford take a bit from him in that regard, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I think creatively, he's actually been very good. And, people are scapegoating him. But, yeah, he's had moments where maybe he's not made the right decision. But you got to remember, Højlund now is what Rashford was last season. The guy the team is funneling all the goal-scoring chances to. So Rashford's having to make a big change. In fact, he's probably been our most creative player in the last few weeks.
Yeah, arguably. I mean, there was that chance as well. I think it was in the first half. Yeah, it was in the first half where he's taken on his man, beating his man, put a cross in. It's deflected off Bruno, and then Mason Mount had that shot which hit Medjbury that was looking like it could go in, and that comes from Rashford running at his man and creating a chance. I do think, I mean, again, like you said, we don't really know anything about the mentality of players and how they're thinking. But from the outside, anyway, it does seem like potentially he is maybe in his own head and sort of just doubting himself in moments a little bit. Who knows? You're right. We don't really know. But from the outside, it just seems like he's not doing things he would have done last season. Last season, I think it was a 2-0 win or 3-1 win over Leicester City at home. I can't remember the exact score. When he scored brace, he scored twice.
3-0, I think.
3-0, there we go. There was a goal that he scored where he was through on goal on the right-hand side. Garnacho was running through the middle, just like Bruno was. He had a look up at him and decided, no, I'm taking a shot, and he scored, which done my fantasy wonders. It was amazing. But same kind of opportunity. He sees Bruno and he tries to make the pass. Now, I don't think the Bruno part, the fact that he made the pass is a disaster. I don't think it's the worst thing. Like, it was very much on. I just think the delivery of the pass should have been a little bit earlier and just fizzed in a little bit quicker. And that's why ultimately Bruno didn't get to it. But like I said earlier, his underlying stats are good. I do think he is a confidence player. So a goal maybe against Brentford could do him some good. I don't have a lot of stress or worry about him bouncing back. Yeah. I think he'll be fine.
No, definitely he'll come back. In that moment, though, that moment you mentioned, the 1v1, I just couldn't believe he didn't shoot. Last season, Rashford buries that about 2-3 seconds 100%. Earlier, and we get a little over in the corner,
Yeah.
Now, like, I was just thinking, look, you're through 1v1, we're 2-1 up. You score this. Oh, actually, no, it was 1-1 at the time. Sorry, score this. We're 2-1 up. I'm thinking you're a forward, like you're a goal scorer. Take your shot, please. That's the thing that frustrated me the most. Is like he waited and then played the pass. I'm like, look, this is a free goal for you here. Like, I don't see him missing that. So, in fact, from that right side when he's through, he rarely misses.
Yeah,
that's one of his better finishing zones. So I'm like, you've got to take the shot on there.
Yeah,
in that situation,
he's a finisher. Like he's so clinical.
Even if the pass is on, even if it's still a very good decision, I always prefer my forwards to shoot in those kind of situations. So that is quite frustrating. Real quick question though: would you drop him for Garnacho against Brentford?
No, I wouldn't personally.
No. I mean,
Go on.
I wouldn't mind if it did happen. I think against Brentford is a game where Rashford could get a goal. I wouldn't mind seeing Garnacho just for the reason, I know he's not the best from the start, but it's just like I said, right now, I think Garnacho is going to show more from the start than Rashford maybe. Well, you know what you're going to get with Garnacho. Even if he's inefficient, he'll always run at his man. He'll always look to create. He'll always look to be positive. And I think actually maybe that benching Rashford might just be the kick he needs. Almost like Wolves last season. Obviously, he was in form at the time, so a bit different. But he got benched. He came on, scored the winner. And I'd quite like to, see that if, he was benched, he responds quite quickly. But again, I'm not for or against it. Like, I'm not particularly strong towards either opinion. If Garnacho starts, I'll be happy. If Rashford starts, I'll be happy. I just want the team to do well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I completely understand the argument to start Garnacho. I mean, whenever he does come on, he does look good. My only thing was when he started, he didn't look amazing at times.
Yeah.
And I still think that Rashford, even though he's not hit top form, even though he's not bagging goals, I still think every time he gets on the ball, I still think he can do something for us here. And not to say Garnacho can't, but I just feel like, is it that our expectations of Rashford are that high, or is it that actually he's been that poor?
I think it's a bit of a mix of both. Like, usually, there's always polarizing opinions in football. I always find the actual answers in the middle somewhere. And I think, again, Rashford has not been good enough in the last few weeks. But also, I just hate the fact that people almost wait for him to have kind of a bad run, and then they just absolutely unleash it on him, and they just go crazy. And I'm like, how are you tearing him down to this level? I'll never understand it. I never will understand it.
No, I mean, I think we've seen in the last few years, it's not the first time that Rashford is targeted online. I mean, whether it was the charity work that he was doing or the season that he was, not very good, to be fair, but still, we've seen him be targeted before, so it's nothing new. Now, I did want to quickly talk about Casemiro because he obviously got the sending off. I thought the first yellow was a bit, I was unsure about. I haven't actually seen it back. I was watching it just live in the stadium, so I haven't actually seen it back. I know it was for a high foot.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Onana didn't help him with obviously giving the ball away. It was a rare mistake from Onana. And then he went in for the challenge. Now, in the moment when I saw him giving away the penalty, my instant thought was, why did you lunge in there? Just stay on your foot, just stay standing, get a foot in the way, try to do something and hope that the shot doesn't go in. Watching it back, though, it seemed more that he was anticipating a shot. So he slid in, but the player that was on the ball saw him slide in and just turned his body so that he would glide into him. And he's won the penalty quite cleverly, I think. But nonetheless, he's out for the next game. He obviously got sent off. He's not had the best start. Tell me what you're thinking.
So, I thought, to be honest, the high foot, I was actually thinking, you know what, I'm glad he's not been sent off here because, you know what, it's like, it wasn't his fault. Like, he's obviously gone in for the ball, but then the player's got his head down. You know what it's like with high feet.
Did he catch him?
Yeah, he did catch him a little bit.
Oh, fairs. Okay.
But I was thinking, I'm glad that's not sending off. But
fairs.
It's one of those ones where it's not like he's done something necessarily stupid. It's one of those things that happens. But yeah, that was definitely a yellow. With the penalty, to be honest, I don't blame him for that. Like, obviously, it's frustrating that he's been sent off, but Onana put him in a horrible situation. And also, in a situation like that, okay, even if it doesn't go well, I always prefer that player acts than doesn't act, right? Because imagine he didn't slide in or anything. You'd have people saying, what's he doing? This is your six. He's supposed to defend in this situation. I'd rather he makes the action. I've not watched it back. From where I was at, I had a very good view of it. I thought he probably could have delayed about half a second. If he makes the tackle then, Icardi probably shoots, Casemiro blocks it, we're all good. But like I said, in that situation, you're not thinking, oh, delay half second. You're thinking, right, this player's through on goal. He's in the box. I've got to act. So he's not been good enough, Casemiro. I think on the ball, it's quite concerning. He's going too direct. But partly it's him. I think partly also the team as a whole is going too direct. And this actually goes into what I wanted to talk about our press, how it's getting cut through. I'll put it this way, we're going too direct, too early, all the time, right? I'm going to use the Forest game as an example, because you look at the Forest game, and we were talking about how well we sustained pressure on them. Obviously, we went 2-0 down in 4 minutes, so they were happy to sit back, soak up the pressure, but we weren't forcing it. We weren't rushing it that game. We were just going side to side, side to side, side to side. We broke them down, and we did it smartly. And against Arsenal, it was similar. We weren't forcing the play. We were keeping it quite nice and simple. Actually, funny enough, in the kind of first 8 minutes, Casemiro lost the ball about 3 times that game. Afterwards, he noticeably calmed down, actually retained it really well for the rest of the game. But I just thought like those games was a blueprint to build off. Be patient with the ball. And it's linked to why we're getting cut through so much. Do you think about it? From deep, we're lumping the ball up long. And then we're not keeping the ball. And then so we're stepping up to press, but then they're cutting right back through us. And then we're having to run back. And that's why the midfield looks so tired. And that's why, because they're just running up and down, up and down, up and down. It's too disjointed. If you're playing side to side patiently, you're building nicely, you make it to the final third, again, patiently building, holding the ball, you're giving the rest of the team time. You've got that territory. Now the rest of the team has time to step up, but you're not rushing it. You've just got the team stepping up. The distances are smaller. It's more compact. You look at Arsenal and City and how they keep the ball. When they lose the ball in the final third, everyone's already there. So they can just pounce on you, suffocate you. They win the ball back immediately. But it's because in possession, they've got that rest defense structure set. They have got the distances closed. They've really limited what the other team can do. We're giving them the ball because we're lumping it up when we're in our kind of own third. They're winning it in their third. So then we're having to run to their third, but they've got all the time in the world and they're just cutting through us. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know. I may have elaborated that very badly. I don't know if the hand signs actually did anything. I could just be doing that.
I get it. Yeah.
If I see a gift of this on Twitter, then I wouldn't complain too much.
But, listen, you're gonna get clipped up. That's normal.
But this is the thing. Like we are just this. Like goes back to what I said. We're asking too much of the players physically, running up and down the pitch constantly. Be patient. Build with the ball. Treat the ball well. There was one clip I saw on the timeline yesterday. It was Casemiro, a couple of passes where he went long. But I saw him do that sometimes. In fact, that's what he did for Højlund's first goal. He went long in behind. And it was a good pass. But that to me confirms it's instructional right now. So Casemiro himself has got to be smarter. He's got to play the ball better. Just be safer with it. Forcing it too much times. And also when he does play it long, execute it a bit better. Because sometimes actually he's got the right idea. He's just kind of not pulled it off as well as you'd hope. But also at the same time, people are saying, oh, drop Casemiro, everything gets better. Look, right now he's not playing well enough. But if you drop Casemiro, bring someone else in, the team doesn't immediately fix itself. The issues are still there. So with me, it's the direct approach. We're asking too much of the players. We're not getting the best out of Onana again, because that direct approach, we're just asking him to lump it long every time rather than actually using his ball playing skills to the max, build out, clip the ball wide. That is what is really frustrating me now. I believe that's probably the biggest problem on a kind of team level right now. That strategy.
But the thing is, right, with going long, going direct, as you say, is like, okay, you either win it and you can start a quick attack nicely. You either get that, you either don't win the first ball and you make sure you win the second ball. If you don't win the second ball, you cannot give them time on the ball. Whoever's won it, the opponent, whoever's got it there, you cannot give them time to then pick out a pass because we're then vulnerable. But like you say, we're not doing that. And how many times have we seen us get caught out, sliced open, and Onana's gods tried to sort out 1v1? So, I think you're right. It is a big structural issue. It plays to the lack of control that we have in games as well. I mean, like 2-1 Galatasaray, just stay on the ball a little bit, control the game, calm it down. Don't give their fans any more reasons. I mean, they don't need reason to be loud and get behind their team. We saw just what they were like. But don't give them any more reason. And I feel like, especially the away games, like we need to go to certain away games and just quieten down the crowd. And we cannot do that right now.
This is one thing I've spoken about a lot, emotional control. It's not just about like, obviously we've not had that player who gets his foot on the ball, calms it down enough. It's not just tempo. It's actually about how the players are feeling. If you're playing fast, your mind's working fast. And that's when it's all frantic. You're having to make decisions on instinct. Calm it down. Don't feel the pressure in your mind. Even if you're under pressure, don't feel pressured. Like, be calm, make the rational decisions. But we're not doing that. We're speeding play up and being frantic when there's no need to do that. So when they're actually, we are under pressure,
calm it down.
No,
you're spot on, and that obviously speaks to the individual players. I mean, obviously Ten Hag has a part in that as well, and in none of this is he void of criticism. Like we've talked about the system, there needs to be some changes, but I do also think obviously the players need to take some responsibility. There's some mistakes that does talk on the mental of players and just our general fragility, But that is now another loss. It's now another loss at home as well. It's now, so since Arsenal, which is, let me see, 7 games, we've lost, hold on, we've lost 5 and won 2.
Yeah.
It's not been the start we would have hoped for. It's not been the start that we expected going off the back of last season. Are you concerned going forward for the rest of the season?
I'm concerned. I'm not as concerned as a lot of people are, because I was saying this to my mates when we left the stadium the other night. I was like, look, things in football change fast. If we win our next 2 games, suddenly the narrative on us completely flips over.
Mm-hmm.
But if in a month's time, we're still in this place where we're still in the same place we are now, I'm going to be concerned. I'm going to say, right, I don't think we can finish top 4 this season. I don't know what we're going to do in the Cups. But if that is the case, I'd like to use the season to build the blocks, get a play style going. They're saying Ten Hag is credit in the bank for winning a trophy last season. Use that credit, build a style of play, enforce your principles. That is the thing for me right now. But I'm optimistic. I feel like this weekend, Brentford is a good opportunity to get some points. Brentford are a good side, but we've shown we can beat them in the past. We beat them at Old Trafford last season.
Yeah. I do think it's a good point that you make there about Ten Hag using that credit in the bank to build what he wants to create, in that it feels at times that Ten Hag is stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because he knows he needs results. This isn't Mickey Arteta at Little Arsenal. He can finish 8th twice in a row and get away with it. That's not what we're dealing with here. He is dealing with week by week criticism. He needs results. We've seen at times here what can happen when you can't sustain results. So it does feel at times that he is sacrificing how he wants to play, and we definitely saw that last season. We're seeing it in parts this season as well, in that he's not exactly playing how he wants to, but it's because he needs results. Now,
what I personally think is, last season he came in, he wanted to play a certain way. Obviously, he had to make the sacrifice, but those transitions got him a lot of success last season. I think a lot of United fans misunderstand possession-based football. Personally, I think they think you're just side all game. It's not necessarily like that. You can be a possession-based team but still be very entertaining to watch, be very fast, and I think that's what Ten Hag wants to be. But those transitions got him success last season. So I think he's now actually he's stuck in 2 minds. He's like, okay, he's recruited partly for what he wants, partly for that, but also there's a clear disjoint between him and the recruitment team, in my opinion. And recent reports have kind of confirmed they're not quite on the same wavelength, which is a real issue for me.
Yeah.
I think Ten Hag's almost in 2 minds right now. I want him to, last season I understood adapting, compromising. It's Man United, like you said, the pressure's a different level. You've got to get results or you're out. But I want to see him really just settle down and say, right, this is how we're playing. Play this way or you're not playing. We need to see that. Even with the players, the backup players and stuff. Look, these players are not incompetent footballers. We've seen them be good footballers. They are capable of keeping the ball. They are capable of playing this kind of football. We need to just really enforce it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Brentford would be a nice place to start for us to start enforcing some of that. So coming up against Brentford on Saturday. Now, like you said, we do have some good recent history against Brentford. I think on their last 2 visits, I think they've never actually won at Old Trafford. I think we beat them every time they've come to Old Trafford since coming up to the Premier League.
Yeah, we beat them. Now, we won in 21-22, we won at their ground. Yeah. Obviously, last season when we went there, the less said, the better. Right. But
yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure, so in 2021, I'm pretty sure Ronaldo scored a penalty, I think it was, and Mata was on. I remember Mata was definitely playing that game.
Yeah, it was Fernandes scored, Ronaldo scored, and Varane scored.
There you go. Your memory's better than mine. So good recent history against Brentford. Now, Brentford haven't started well at all. So they've got 1 win, 4 draws, and 2 losses in their first 7. They've also got, it looks like, just as many injuries as us, to be honest. So no Ben Mee, no Da Silva, no Shard, no Damsgaard, no Rico Henry, no Baptiste, and obviously Ivan Toney's out through suspension as well. So they are far away from their full strength side, essentially. Yeah. But we also know they can be very, very functional, and they can be stubborn at the back and just hold out for a 0-0. They've got the potential to do that as well.
Thomas Francis, smart manager, very astute.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what needs to happen for us to get the win on Saturday?
I want to see a solid team, and I don't mean like Burnley where we just completely abandoned the ball and sat back.
Yeah.
I want to see a team that goes out and plays the ball and is brave with it. But I want to see us be solid. I don't want to see us, hoofing it long at every opportunity. I don't want to see us rushing around all over the place. Be a unit, really. So in goal, I'd go Onana. I think we can agree on that. He's obviously not had the best run of games, but dropping him, I don't think helps his confidence. And you know what? He can. His long passing could help us against Brentford. I know Brentford like to press, but they press in a front two generally. So say they press in that front two, splitting the centre backs using Onana, we outnumber them. Their first line of pressure, and that could help a lot. Right back, I'd keep Dalot. Obviously, we've not really got another option, but mistake aside, he's been one of our best players this season. I think he's been really good. Yeah. Left back, again, we don't really. There's not really an option. We can't bring someone else in.
The thing is, there were reports earlier on, about a week ago, that said the hope was that Reguilon would be fit for Brentford. Now, we've seen that Ten Hag this season just seems to basically not give any information when talking about injuries. Yeah. He barely gives anything away. So we still don't know the situation of Reguilon. I do think if he's fit, he could be the difference maker for us in that game, in that he'll give us that speed on the left. He'll give us the width. He'll give Rashford the opportunity to actually take his man on 1v1 because he's got someone overlapping him. I do think it could be huge. Obviously, like you say, it depends. If not, it will be Amrabat.
And I think also he has been fantastic defensively.
He has. Yeah, he's been good.
He's just putting a lot of effort, real shift.
Yeah, the only game where he seemed to struggle a little bit defensively was a little bit against Bayern, but even then, it's like I don't even think we can put that on him. He was having to deal with difficult scenarios, and you know what? He was up against Leroy Sané, which, I don't watch week in, week out. I don't watch German football, but boy, he is so good. He's so rapid. He's so strong. He's a brilliant player. I can't believe City let him go.
Explosive as he was in the Premier League. Obviously, he had that ACL, but he's become a lot more kind of controlled. He's really good in central areas now as well, so he can drift inside. But he's a fantastic player, a real joy to watch, and it's not an easy task. But so Reguilon left back. At centre back, I'd go Varane. Obviously, I don't think you can drop him. He's one of the players at Man United who, for me, is genuinely undroppable. And I'd go Maguire next to him, to be honest. I know that might be a controversial one for some. Obviously, he's not the most popular player, but honestly, I thought Maguire should have kept playing off the Palace. I think he played really well. On paper, I think him and Varane fit nicely together. And Maguire is just more progressive on the ball than Lindelof is, more kind of physically strong. I know Tony's not there. Brentford still have used the air quite a lot, but he just, like I said, I want us to be solid. And right now, I feel more solid with Maguire in the team than Lindelof. I've been an advocate for Victor Lindelof over the years. I feel like at times he's been a bit harshly treated. He's not been as bad as some people say, but this season he has been playing like he did when he first joined Man United, and we all kind of know that was a very disastrous period. So
yeah,
I think he should be dropped, really.
I you know what, I completely understand the Maguire argument, because you know what it is as well. He's not been fantastic. He's not been the £80 million signing. He's not been the captain that he should have been. But at some point, he was still a very good centre back, and I think there's still a very good centre back in there. Okay, his ball playing abilities aren't fantastic, but to be honest, right now we're not doing it anyway. So how much would we be losing between Lindelof and Harry Maguire in terms of ball playing ability?
When he is confident, he can play the ball fantastically too. I think when he's not confident, sometimes he takes a bit too long, invites pressure.
Maybe
does. Way too long, and he can have a mistake in him. But when he's confident, he can play well. And I think having been out of the team for a couple of games, United have not won. He might come in and just think, you know what, I've got a point to prove here. I can play in this team. And it could actually inspire someone really strong in the midfield, even if Reguilon's back, I think I'd still go Casemiro in the 6. I think Amrabat is a player who is best next to a 6 rather than actually being the 6 himself. But I would understand if someone wanted to play Amrabat in that 6 over Casemiro. Mason Mount, right now, I don't think you can drop him. He has been fantastic.
He was so good. He was so good.
One thing as well against Galatasaray, after the red card, one of my mates noticed, and he was saying this to me, and you know what? Yeah, it was the case. It was Mount who was going round to everyone, giving instructions out, ordering players around. instructions.
Yes.
It was him doing that. And
Yeah.
look, I hate to draw out Fernandes, but that's what you want Fernandes to be doing. Again, it's also Varane. That's what you want them to kind of be doing. You want them to be the ones rallying the troops, compacting the team. Mount was the one going around giving out instructions, and it's that drive, those natural leadership qualities. That's what you like about Mason Mount.
Yeah.
And then Bruno Fernandes, just don't play him on the wing, please.
No.
There's not many things I hate seeing on the team sheet more than Bruno Fernandes on the wing. It doesn't make him a better player. It doesn't make the team a better team. I don't understand it. Please just don't do it.
No, I agree.
So I don't think Reguilon is going to be fit. I think I saw something earlier saying he won't be. So it'll be Amrabat left back, and I'm going off that basis. If Reguilon was to be fit, I'd consider chucking Mount on the wing. But also right now, is that the best move? I think Mount's been really good in the middle. I prefer him on the wing to Bruno, but I don't think he will be moved to the wing. It wouldn't surprise me if Casemiro was dropped. And to be honest, I know I said I wouldn't actively look to do it, but I wouldn't mind massively if Casemiro was dropped. I feel like he might just need a couple of games off, collect himself again. So either way, Amrabat's in there somewhere. I think he should play. He's obviously had a few dodgy moments, but also he's shown a bit of what he can bring to us. On the right, I'm really not sure, to be honest.
And I'm with you. I'm with you on this because I thought, because you know what it is with Pellistri, I really like a lot of what Pellistri does, but he hasn't yet shown us there's that thing that he's really good at. What is it that you're really, really good at? What is it that you excel at? He's good. He'll get the ball and he'll run at you and he'll try to take it past you and go around the outside and put a cross in. But there hasn't been moments where he's created an opportunity out of that. I feel like he's very hardworking and things will come. He's still young. Yeah. But in this game against Brentford, I'm not sure if he's the right choice. I feel like we're probably going to end up seeing Bruno on the right again, if I'm being honest.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think we'll see it again.
I think we'll see Bruno, and then we'll see probably Hannibal in the middle.
Yeah. And I'd really like to see Hannibal. To be honest, I wouldn't even mind Hannibal starting out on the right because obviously he's more of a natural left-sided player, but he's played on the wing before. I think the fact he's just more of a natural dribbler, a natural receiver higher up than some of these players, I think he could work on the right. And also, he just deserves to be in the team right now.
Yeah. Okay. So then on the left, would you drop Rashford? We were speaking about this earlier.
I know you're going to say play Rashford, so I feel like we need to balance it out. I'm going to say Garnacho just for that reason. You know what? I don't mind Garnacho or Rashford. And then up front, I don't think there's any really disputes on this one.
No, not at all. And you know what? Let's try to end on a positivity because of just of everything that's been going on recently.
Martial did score against Palace last week. That's the positivity.
There it is. But Højlund, right? He can be the difference maker on Saturday. How good was he? And I know we've spoken about Galatasaray already, but how good was he against Galatasaray?
Amazing. Best player on the pitch.
Unbelievable.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I've not felt this encouraged by a new signing in a while based off their first kind of appearances. I almost liken Højlund to Martial a bit. Obviously, Martial was scoring for fun when he first joined, but we've signed him and you feel hope. You see a guy, you see a future in him.
Yeah.
And I think Højlund, he's obviously he got really smart box movement. Physically, he's a monster. Works so hard. All of that together, I don't want to say he's got this aura about him. Okay.
He does. You're right. He does.
He just exudes confidence. He plays sounds cliche. He plays like he wants to be at Man United.
Yeah. And he does.
Him and Mount both like that. They really play like they want to be at the club. And that, I know it sounds, some people say it's top reddish or whatever, but honestly, these things matter in football.
Yeah. No, spot on. Yeah. I mean, even the thing about the aura and the sort of the passion and his personality, and you saw him in the Denmark game and he's speaking to all the fans after the game, that stuff, it might even sound a bit a bit cliche or whatever, but listen, the top strikers in the world, they have that. You talk about the Zlatans and the Ronaldos and the Benzema, and they've all got that about them. And even Haaland, he's got that about him. I see that.
Yeah.
I saw it right from the first interview that you gave. He believes in himself, he's confident, and he's not the kind of guy that will miss a chance and his head will drop.
It's one of his old coaches actually said that Rasmus, he can almost seem arrogant at times if you don't know him. He can almost seem cocky, but you need that to be a top footballer. You need to have that kind of belief in yourself.
Yeah. No, yeah, and you know what as well, that I mean his second goal was phenomenal anyway, and it was everything about him that we already know. It was his strength, his speed was ridiculous, by the way, in that goal. He really got away from his man. But
Also just
the
pouncing
offside
on that
goal,
loose ball.
yeah, facts. But the offside goal, and obviously offside doesn't count, but the composure in the box to just not take it first time, not scuff his chance, but just turn his body, drop his defender that way, and then put it top bins, and then he's just put his arms out to celebrate. He hasn't even moved, and I've gone, oh my god, this is the guy, this is the man.
I was going absolutely mental. I was like,
yeah,
this is a finish.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we'll end it on there on a positive note that we've got Højlund in our side, and hopefully he can be the match winner on Saturday against Brentford, because boy, we need it.
Again, I'd love to see Marcus Rashford get on the score sheet as well.
Yeah.
So
100%.
obviously Brentford, our team is Onana, Dalot, Varane, Maguire, Amrabat probably.
Yeah.
Casemiro, Bruno, Mount, Maibri, Højlund, and Rashford. Potentially Garnacho, but let's score predictions. What do you think?
Okay, score predictions. I don't think I'm going to keep a clean sheet.
Sadly not.
But there were some good signs against Galatasaray. I do think Galatasaray helped us in that they did leave space in behind them and create chances like that. I don't think we'll get as much space in behind against Brentford. I'm going to still be positive though. Yeah, we do. I'm going to go 2-1 United.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same. Højlund, Rashford.
2-1 United. Let's go. Up the boys. We need it. Right before the international break, we need to win.
Yeah, here's hoping.
We really do. And as ever, thank you for tuning in, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, please do share, like, and subscribe. Yusuf, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Been a lovely chat, and here's hoping we get a win this weekend.
Hopefully so, man. Hopefully so. We'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.